Really excited for today's webinar. It's gonna be fun. We're gonna have a good little fireside chat. I kind of wish we all had marshmallows that we had, maybe some hot cocoa. Feels very on theme for today. Just give a couple more minutes before we officially kick off. We're about 1 minute from official start time. See, there's quite a few people watching though. Those that are watching, if you guys have team members that you're wanting to send this out to or some friends, they can definitely jump in because we're going to do a little giveaway at the end too. So those who stay all the way through to the end of the Zoom call will get a cool giveaway. So a little tease for you guys there. Still too hot in Dallas for hot cocoa. Yeah, I feel that. Really, really excited here. Cool. While we're still waiting for some people to stop. Oh, Harry. Yes. Pop display, of course. Of course. Big Funko Pop fan. I was actually just in the Seattle airport yesterday and they had a cool Funko Pop store. It was really fun. It's really fun. Oh, Brianna's from California. What part of California, Brianna? Small town called Murphy's. Okay, I'm in Redding, California. So also in California, small town. Michaela's from Atlanta, trying to avoid the storm. Oof, I know. Hurricane weather is wild, guys. Hope you all stay safe out there. Great. Okay, we've got 19 people. Awesome. I'm seeing some really fun names here in the chat. So let's kind of get started with a fun little icebreaker question for everybody that's watching. What we're gonna do is we're gonna go through some awesome slides and everything like that, but let's officially kick off our awesome Black Friday Cyber Monday little fireside chat here. Before we dive into all the slides and the questions, I love to ask an icebreaker question, and so I'm gonna ask it to all of our panelists, but everybody in the Zoom chat as well. Now it's kind of fall time for most of us. So what's your favorite fall drink? Now it could be your favorite fall coffee, maybe it's a cocktail, maybe you're just a black coffee drinker all year round, but uh everybody in the Zoom chat, feel free to give your answer, but I'm curious from our panelists if you guys want to just give a quick, what's your favorite fall drink that you go to?
So as I mentioned, I'm in San Antonio, which means that fall, like it'll be 95 degrees here today. So that shapes my answer. But I basically drink iced Americanos year round. Black, no cream, no sugar. The fastest way to get caffeine.
Fastest way. I love that. I love that. What about you, Sam?
I love that. I was going to say, I just switched from my black iced Americano to my hot Americano. So it's
I'm
getting
jealous.
chilly enough in Chicago, still warm, but like enough that I can go to the hot version, but also still an
Yes.
Americano girly.
Yes. Yes. Chase, are you an Americano girly too?
Much softer. Put a little milk in there. I always do iced year round. I also live in Los Angeles, so like it never really gets that cold. But right now I have been brewing iced tea quite a bit. So I am sitting outside on my porch drinking iced tea, doing this
Let's
call
go.
because my office has been commandeered by our 2 month old. So
Okay. Yeah.
uh, yeah, iced tea is what I'm doing right now. I didn't know there were fall drinks besides pumpkin spice lattes. I saw hot toddy in there. Not
Hot
mad at
toddy. Yeah.
I'm not mad at
Apple
that.
cider. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean,
Love that. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah. I'm for sure. This is like my little like fun fact. I love all things pumpkin. So I was like on the pumpkin spice thing years before it was like a big thing. Uh,
Oh,
I
you're
love it.
PSL OG. I love that.
Oh yeah, I could do it all the time. It's just what's tricky is I live in Northern California where it's really hot. So like it's still 100, 110 degrees. And so like everybody's like, yay, it's fall. There's pumpkin spice at Starbucks. I'm like, there's something about drinking a PSL when it's 100, 110 out that just doesn't feel right. But the pumpkin cold brew though, with the cold foam, like that pumpkin cold foam from Starbucks. Oh yeah, yeah.
I
But
was
the
early on
pumpkin
cold
margarita,
foam. Oh, dude, that's wild.
yeah,
I was early on cold foam. I was there before everyone else got on the train. Now
yeah.
you can get
It's
it in. You can get it in a can at Target.
I know, I
Yeah.
know. Yeah. This will be the most random thing, then we'll get into the slides and we'll do all of our intros. But I saw marketers talk about how pumpkin cold foam is such a brilliant thing because it's literally just whipped cream. But there's something about whipped cream that feels too sugary, and they just rebranded it as cold foam, and everybody's all about it. So it's all about branding.
Magic of marketing, guys. That's what we're here to talk about. So
Yeah.
Mark just gave us a perfect example of that.
Yeah. Well, cool. We've got 41 people here. We've got all of our panelists here. So let's officially kick this off now that we know everybody's fall drink. So I'm going to go ahead and present here, and let's make sure everybody can see my lovely screen here because we've got an amazing slide deck to walk through. So everybody in the chat, are you guys seeing this? You guys can hear us well. Just going to look at the chat here. Awesome. Tom says yes. Brianna says yes. Great. Well, welcome everybody. This is our webinar. It's more like going to be a little bit of a fireside chat. You can see everybody's wonderful backgrounds here. So this is going to be about how to create a BFCM ready website from heat maps to conversions. So there's really awesome slides we're going to go through. We've got all amazing brands here. We've got Because, I'm with Because. We've got Black Crow. We've got Joanne from Black Crow. We've got Chase from Heatmap. And then we've got Sam from Intelligems. So really excited to go through today. Let's just start off with some intros. So I'll start with me and then I'll go through you guys. So I'm your guys' lovely host today, but I'm also going to be one of the panelists as well. So I'm wearing multiple hats here. I am in Redding, California, as some of you already heard. I was formerly at a brand called the Adventure Challenge. You guys might have seen them. They're like a scratch off date book for couples, and it's a $70 million e-commerce brand. And so I was one of the e-commerce managers, directors there, and have spent a decade in sales and marketing. So definitely well versed in personalization, CRO. And then I joined the dark side, as our founder and CEO jokes, because I'm a big Star Wars fan. When I joined Because over a year ago, I've got an amazing daughter who's also named Leia because we're big Star Wars people. And yeah, so it's really excited to be here. Really fun to just talk through how we can do BFCM, how we can make it personalized for site visitors, and really just see a good success for everybody in Q4. So I'm going to hand it off to Chase.
Hey everyone, great, glad to be here. Really humbled to be on this panel with these amazing folks. I'm the CMO over at Heatmap. Founding team, worked at a company called Pencil. We got acquired last year. That was fun. Was a media buyer originally back in the old days when Facebook was easy. So I didn't have to work as hard as everyone else does. I have 3 kids. And yeah, I love rom-coms. Actually, I convinced my wife to watch one yesterday, and she's like, J-Lo is incredible at rom-coms. This is her sweet spot. We watched that Marry Me, I think is the one we watched
Oh yeah.
yesterday. Music in that was insane. I was sitting there like, I would just listen to this soundtrack. And obviously heat map, revenue analytics on your website down to the pixel, so you can see what the actual customer journey looks like and where the impact is being driven. Have to sell a little bit. But yeah, really excited to be here and learn from all of these amazing panelists. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. You're getting lots of love for the holiday and the Zoom chat there, Chase. So it's good. Awesome. Sam.
Thanks, Mark. I also love The Holiday. Great movie. Can't wait to watch it this year. But yeah, I'm Sam at Intelligems. I'm our head of partnerships. Joined to kind of do all kinds of ops stuff, help build Intelligems. I started off kind of by leading and building our sales team, and it's been very exciting to kind of learn more about partnerships and work with a ton of amazing partners, both on the tech side and kind of on the agency side. I've been doing testing and optimization for quite a while across industries. Started off in the ride sharing industry, kind of doing price testing and price optimization at a company called Via, and then have been doing it now in e-commerce for the last like almost 3 years. I love to work, but I also love to do all kinds of fun things. So I listed a few hobbies. I have the stars in the background, but you can't see that. I think I have we have 6 bikes hanging up in my office all around me. I'm also a beekeeper. I love to bake. I love drinking wine, all kinds of things. So can't wait to retire one day and just become a full-time hobbyist.
I love that. How do you pronounce this? I always butcher this. Sommelier?
Yeah, sommelier.
Sommelier. Oh, so cool. So cool. That's great, Sam. Thanks for the intro on you. And then let's turn it over to Joanne.
Thank you. We were actually debating top 5 Jack Black movies of all time yesterday,
Ooh.
my family, and we totally forgot about The Holiday, which I don't know if it hits top 5 Jack Black of all time, but was definitely worth the conversation and was a miss.
High Fidelity Jack Black, sorry. It's
High
amazing.
Fidelity is 100. That's where we went and then descended into all of the quotes. That's where the top 5 came from. It's very meta.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So I'm VP of marketing at Black Crow. I have spent probably actually more than 9 years at this point, almost 15 years, leading marketing for tech companies. Was previously at a site search and merchandising company called SearchSpring, and have really enjoyed bringing that concept of personalization into my role at Black Crow and the things we're building here. I, in my free time, love mountain biking, and I am currently working on my Jeep TJ with my 2 kids. The entire reason for that is my fully realized self as just a person driving my Jeep with my dog through the mountains somewhere. So I'm starting to bring that vision to reality.
Love that. I love that. Do you do the Jeep things? There's the whole rubber ducky thing for Jeeps, right?
There's the whole
Do you do
rubber ducky thing. We've received a couple of rubber duckies,
so
but we
cool.
don't keep them on the dash because I think it would drive me. I'm a little bit of a neat freak. So I think
Yeah.
having a bunch of stuff on my dash would drive me nuts.
Yeah.
But a
In
lot of
Texas,
people
they
love
might.
that. It's a cool thing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah,
feel like they might melt on your dashboard in Texas too. So
probably, probably just like a melted blob of yellow plastic on your dash. It's great.
so lovely. Yeah. Well, great. Thanks everybody for the intros. What we're gonna do now is we're gonna go into some questions. So we've got a lot of questions. We're gonna kind of do more of a fireside chat experience. It's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm gonna be asking all of the questions. I'll be answering some of them on behalf of Because. So I'll be asking some of the questions, but we've got everybody here. But before we go into the questions, I want to tell you guys about the quick giveaway that we're gonna do. So we're gonna do a prize for the most valuable chatter, like our MVC today. So whoever's engaged the most in the chat is going to walk away with a $50 gift card and also some swag from some of the brands here today. So definitely keep you guys engaged in the Zoom chat because you might be walking away with that $50 gift card today and some cool swag, maybe some new hats. So it's going to be a lot of fun. So our team's going to be taking a look at who's the most valuable chatter today. Feel free to just ask questions, give us some fire emojis, just help us as panelists feel some love from you guys. So if you like what we're saying, just give us some fire emojis, star emojis, all that stuff. And then we'll have some Q&A time as well. So yeah, MVC, it's gonna be great. Love it. So let's get into the first question here. So this is going to be, what common mistakes do you see brands make during peak shopping periods? And how can they be avoided? So I'm going to pass this off to Joanne first.
Yeah, I love this question. I was actually chatting ahead of this with one of our product managers, Ray, and we were just chatting through hey, within our customer base and our community, what are the things that customers are coming to us asking about? And then what do we advise them when we can see across that customer base? And one of the things that we see is as mistakes that can be made is focusing too much on new customers during that time period. It might sound kind of counterintuitive because you're trying to generate a lot of revenue, acquire a lot of customers. And new customers will make up a majority of a brand's traffic during that period. But Ray actually dug in and analyzed this. And so I got the benefit of talking to him that returning customers are always generating more revenue. That piece is probably not super surprising to most people here. But returning customers are not only generating more revenue, they have higher AOVs and they're more engaged. So as they generate more purchases, you're going to see that snowball effect. So some of the things that we take away from that would be as a bare minimum, do your due diligence on segmentation between your new customers or subscribers, consider them subscribers, and returning customers. You're going to be leaning into that owned marketing anyway. Incentives for those new customers are really important, or returning customers really important. And even considering your segmentation when you're building those incentives. And then you can go deeper even by creating full flows. And some of the brands that we work with do a great job at this, at showing like personalizing the incentive and the conversion point for returning customers through every step. And then you'll make it really seamless for them coming back and repurchasing those items during that holiday period.
That's really great. That's really great. I'll just add on to it by saying that I think one of the things I see that is a pretty common mistake during peak holiday periods is just like overcomplicating the offer. So, you know, whether it's like the offer may look so pretty in email, right? But it's like a BOGO offer, or it's like buy this one and save this, or like up to 50% off. But then you go on the site and it's hard to find, or there's like a promo code that's associated. So I'm a big Donald Miller fan, and he always talks about like if you confuse, you lose. And oftentimes with peak shopping periods, the confusing offers, customers will just, if they can't figure it out, they just bail, right? They abandon cart, and it's kind of hard, especially in like the gifting season. So really making it clear and simple, you know, how do you personalize the site to them? How do you give great messaging every step of the funnel? So like product page, collection page, cart, having personalized message to the offers that they're getting externally through SMS, email, and everything like that. And then the other thing too that I've seen that's worked really well is like even on the brand side, when I worked at the brand, we actually disabled promo codes during the peak shopping periods and just automatically discounted the products. So that way it wasn't confusing to the brands. Yeah, I see Chase has given me some thumbs up there. It works so well because we turn off all the promo codes and we just discount the price. So that way it's like the quickest checkout. And also it's going to help with all the customer success tickets too, right? Of people not, they don't have to type in and be like, hey, I missed the promo. I forgot to add the thing. And then you have to do refunds, all that stuff. So yeah.
I mean, it totally makes sense if you're trying to just reduce that friction, and you know that the people most likely to use the promo code you've already converted to your list anyway. Like, why add that additional friction just to get the promo code? I love that idea.
Yeah. Yeah. Really great. So yeah, just oversimplify it, make it easy, hold their hand every step of the way, especially when it's peak holiday season, because you know, we want to help make sure that it's easy for all of our brands and all of our customers to be able to just check out. Yeah. Let's go on to question number 2 here. So what are some common misconceptions around conversion rate optimization today? I'm going to pass this off to Chase first.
Thank you very much, Mark. Biggest misconception I see is that a higher conversion rate is actually going to lead to a better business, especially in Black Friday. It really depends on the quality of customers you want. And so you really have to understand what you're optimizing for this holiday season. Are you optimizing for volume? Are you optimizing for quality? And it's kind of that good, fast, cheap triumvirate that you're trying to understand. If you want something that's good and fast, you got to be cheap. If you want something that's good in quality, it's not gonna be cheap. And so you got to understand kind of where you land on that. But conversion rate does not always equal directly an output of good customers. And so optimizing for like the offers that Mark was talking about, something simple that raises AOV, that gives you a signal that you're going to have someone who is a repeat purchaser at a higher AOV, is going to be more valuable for you in the long run. And a lot of companies, I think people are getting wise to this, by the way. This is something that I think probably in years past was a problem, but today, based on everyone looking at, you know, EBITDA being a thing that people think about now, wasn't even a conversation in BFCM 2022. People are thinking about what they can do to make their customers more valuable and not, you know, sell the farm on Black Friday. So conversion rate is not always your best friend. We have a saying, and this is recorded, but I'll just say it anyway. We say like fuck conversion rate internally. Revenue and profit is really the only thing that matters. So optimizing for those things, you're going to know your revenue stack and your profit stack on your side. So making sure that those offers and those funnels make sense for that and deliver better customers to you, not just a lot of them. And I'll pass it over to Sam.
Yeah, I was going to say, have the same thing written down. Conversion rate is stupid. We've said it before. I think brands shouldn't stop at measuring conversion. Conversion is definitely like a piece of the puzzle, but often it's like much too high in the funnel. and it doesn't always translate to improved bottom lines. And so I think this partially goes back to what folks were talking about in the last question, where acquiring good repeat customers and increasing LTV and revenue is a really big piece of it. So that's kind of where conversion comes in, but you want it to be like good conversions. And so I think we'll probably get into this more as we go forward, but you can also convert a lot of like low value customers. And so we think, or in something that like, I believe, and it sounds like Chase is on the same page, but like really looking at profit per visitor or revenue per visitor is like where you want to go. Another example that we think about a lot at Intelligems is like lowering price almost always increases in conversion. Like the best way to sell $1 million is to charge $50,000 or $500,000 or something like that. But it's not going to necessarily increase profit. So yeah, anchoring on conversion can be an expensive way to buy orders. So actually go optimize for something else like profit or revenue.
Yeah, that's so great. You guys both shared really good points. I think I'll just add on by saying like it's easy to get sucked into the conversion rate metric as your North Star, especially when you have higher ups at your brand, maybe it's the CEO, founder, whoever. They just look at conversion rate. They log on the Shopify dashboard and they're like, conversion rate's low, but like, what about the other metrics, right? What about AOV? Like everything you guys are talking about. What about the overall long time lifetime value, profitability? Like it's great to have that North Star of conversion rate, but there's so many other pieces connected into it. And yeah, so love that. Let's move on to question 3. Can you share any successful examples of website optimizations merchants have done in the past that led to significant improvements in conversions? So we talked about conversion rate. Now let's talk about some successful optimizations people have done that have led to conversion. I'll pass this to you, Joanne.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure everyone on this call has seen a lot of different like tests and optimizations that we've all tried to make, brands have tried to make, and a lot of things that fail, a lot of things that succeed. But one that comes to mind is a test with a partner that had a large product catalog. And they dug into their funnel and found a lot of breakage around the collections page. So from hearing from them, they tried a complete redesign, tried to change the information architecture, focused on filtering, tried ordering options, and all things kind of like moved the needle slightly, but didn't really have the outcome they're looking for overall. And when they dug in a little deeper, they noticed that users who used sorting were actually the ones that were seeing a higher conversion rate than other segments. And so they kind of brought that background into real-time sorting on the collection pages, but tied it to historical user behavior. And so the thing that I take away from that example is like, as much as possible, try to preempt the friction that would happen or preempt the clicks the user would have to take. So if you're landing a user on that page and you know that like the thing that creates the best outcome is the user sorting, like sort for them with like your personalization tactics or whatever sorting mechanism you want to use against your goals. Yeah, I think that's one of the many successful examples I've seen of merchants giving different tests a try.
That's great. That's great. I appreciate you sharing that. I'll answer my side and say that one of the things that we've seen work really well for brands is personalizing to who's coming on site. So often when we're driving top of funnel ads, or maybe it's, brand new first exposure to the brand, being able to personalize the offers to that customer coming on site. So we work with a lot of brands and we've seen them use personalization to do unique selling points using USPs that's specific to those people coming on site. Because oftentimes, like, we're all consumers here on the call, right? We're shopping all day long, we're looking at everything. And when you are coming to a site, it's like, what's the objection that we can help overcome for that consumer that's coming on site? And using those USPs either on the product page or the cart level, because oftentimes it's like we want to try to decrease abandoned carts. And so it's like, what kind of messaging can we put there? Maybe it's around the brand authority. So like, I'll use an example of an apparel brand we were working with that I didn't know they were around since 2007 because it's not really public on their site. And then I didn't know that all their designs were exclusive to them. I thought that it was just a little bit more of like a print on demand, but I was like, okay, they've got exclusive designs. They've been around since 2007. So they had authority in that like checkout right before the checkout space that was helping drive conversion. So if somebody's brand new to the brand, brand new exposure, they're seeing this authority of this brand, and it especially with so many drop shipping Shopify brands out there. And then the last thing I'll say is like we're always competing against ourselves in this space too, right? Like a lot of you guys listening, you're competing against your own Amazon stores, your own maybe retail stores. So like, what's that unique offer that's specific for the consumers of why they should buy exactly from your website rather than going to Amazon or a retailer? And so just testing out those unique selling points and making it personalized to the meta traffic, first time buyer, all that. So I think that those definitely lead to great conversions. Yeah. All right, let's go to the next question here. Can you share an example of how real-time data has been used to optimize marketing efforts during peak shopping periods? Chase, you're taking the lead on this one.
Sam had an incredible answer when we talked about this, so I'm going to let her take lead on this, and I will, since I started the last one, and I will piggyback. Is that okay, Sam?
Yeah. Happy to jump in. I feel like Chase and I are playing a little bit of the foil here because I think
Yeah.
on the last question and on this one a little bit because I think what I was going to say was, I think maybe we recommend not doing this. I think you have the whole, year leading up to Black Friday, Cyber Monday, the months and even the full year leading up to kind of test and optimize your marketing, merchandising, and offer strategy. So you really should have that kind of like nailed down before you get to Black Friday. Obviously, like this is like the big moment and you don't want to mess it up by going and adding new things or changing things or introducing something that like might slow down your site or other kinds of things like that. So no learnings are really worth messing that up. I think is like my first thought. That being said, we have seen, if people kind of come into the period saying, we really know what we want to do and what the offer is and what our ads are going to be and all of that, but we want to kind of test a couple things on the day because Labor Day is a great chance to test, but not exactly the same. We have seen people do things like run a bandit test where you kind of test two versions of messaging in the early hours of Black Friday and then like quickly roll out the winner. Something like that where you're kind of making a change based on early data can be good. But yeah, I would really emphasize like nail it down ahead of time. Like you still have time now, but we're nearing the end of like when you really should be kind of using data to make those decisions. I don't know, Chase, what do you think?
Yeah, it's pretty much the same. I think my build is just you have a year's worth of data since then. You also have your data from last Black Friday, assuming you were in the game at that point. And you're able to start doing look backs. The best brands we have been working with recently, like irrespective of the size of their business, have been going and doing look backs at their information, at their heat maps, everything that existed last year to say, okay, we understand that say this page or this product had the best entry point for Black Friday. We've done updates to it, or we have done iterations of things that are similar. We're going to build funnels to test into. Are they going to have the same impact, like broadly? And then if we include them with some sort of offer, what kind of velocity can that drive? And so getting ahead of those things now is going to be your best bet. Testing on Black Friday, not very few brands are equipped to actually do this in real time. And the brands that are the ones that everyone sees on podcasts, right? And they're doing a significant amount of revenue. And what I would caution everyone is comparing your brand to that brand is not a fair one-to-one. It's not apples to apples. It's aspirational, and you should absolutely be aspiring to go there and use some of the tactics that they're going with. But saying, hey, I want to be Ridge. Ridge was at one point a $5 million brand, and they were doing much different things than they're doing as a 9-figure brand today.
Yeah.
And the brands that we work with that are 9 figures do a lot of different things, and they measure revenue on different ways. They have different data velocity. And so just understanding those things will allow you to unlock a lot of great things you can do before this. And so your peak, I would almost say your peak testing period is actually pre-Black Friday.
Yep.
Alan, if you're in the chat, trademark. Is getting that optimized, let's say, by the 21st of October, so that you have a good month where everything is locked and you've got everything flowing. And November is now the Black Friday month, It's
Yeah.
it's Cyber Month at that point, so you have
Yep.
everything locked in with some time. So
Yeah.
pass it to you, Mark.
Solid point, Chase. Solid point. I think you just gave everybody listening the best talk track that they can use with their CEOs, their founders, their bosses to just be like, hey, guys, we're not rich. Let's get all of our testing in before BFCM and let's make BFCM be the most successful and not overcomplicate. So I love that. We're about the halfway mark right now. So those that are listening, if you guys are finding this helpful, can I just get a helpful in the chat? Just type out helpful if you're finding this helpful. And we're cruising along. You're super helpful, great, helpful, awesome.
Can we get a most valuable chatter update so people can know, like Lisa, who's winning right now? I'm curious.
I mean, it's looking really neck and neck. They'll probably drop in here in a second and say who's in the lead. But let's go on to the next couple questions, and we'll try to speed this up a little bit because I know we've been having so much fun talking. But let's talk about this. Which data sources are important to consider to create a cohesive website experience, website personalization strategy during BFCM and the rest of the year? So, Joanne, take it away.
Yeah. So because at Black Crow, like our thing is using your data to personalize all of the conversion points in the funnel, the experience in the funnel. I'm tempted to say like all of them, just use all of the data sources. But I think that's actually the challenge that a lot of people come across is like, oh my God, I can't use all of them. Where do I start? So I want to actually give a more helpful answer than that. And the question that I think I would recommend that brands ask themselves is, if I could do one thing with data to personalize the website for my user, for my customer, what would that one thing be?
Yeah,
And
that's good.
the one thing I would think about is the motivation for arriving on your site. And Mark, you kind of touched on this earlier of like considering context of where that traffic is coming from. And so I think about like, how can I translate the concept of motivation into a data source?
Yeah.
And I think about, what did the user click on to end up on your site? Probably, was it a meta ad? If it's a meta ad, bring that history and context into how you're thinking about personalization. And technically that could look like just UTM parameters, using your UTM parameters for personalization. And some brands will be really far along on this and their personalization is very sophisticated. But if you're just looking for that like one thing you can do, I'd say look at the traffic source and try to tie that experience of like, I clicked on a really engaging piece of creator content on Instagram, but maybe I'm landing on like a PDP that's kind of falling flat against a lot of the use cases that were in the ad. Then start thinking about how you build that continuity and personalize that continuity.
That's so good. You kind of stole a few of my few of my answers, but I think that's kind of the theme today. I'll say that like for us, what we've seen work so well is that first party, zero party data, right? So it's definitely really great to tap into that. Looking at quiz data, obviously leveraging Klaviyo data. I think that that's like the strongest source of data that you can pull into where somebody's at in the Klaviyo funnel. Are they a new subscriber? Have they ever purchased before? Are they returning subscriber? And then like leveraging who are your VIP customers? So how can you make the personalized experience for them? Because they're the ones like you guys touched on earlier, like how can we get more customers to come back and purchase again and again? And so welcoming people back off of loyalty points. So we work really great with some of our friends like Loyalty Lion, Yotpo, and be able to personalize the website to where they're at in the loyalty tiers and being able to just message around what points are they getting and maybe they're getting unique free shipping offers. And then even subscription, right? Like a lot of the brands listening, you guys have subscription running. And so like, how can we personalize the site to those returning subscribers, making it easy with messaging throughout the site? All of this is important to consider doing BFCM because it's kind of like the old days of retail, right? Everybody wanted to be in line and get that first access, those doorbuster deals. And if we can kind of bring that same experience onto the site with personalization by maybe giving unique offers to visitors coming on site, that they get that VIP access, they get that 48-hour access before everybody else. That's where everybody's going to win in BFCM, is just personalizing it to the site visitors. Yeah. Great. Let's go on to the next question here. Which metrics are most important to be optimizing for you on your website during BFCM? Sam?
Yeah. So I think we touched on this a little bit earlier. I think profit per visitor is like our North Star metric and what we encourage most brands to kind of think about. It's balancing both conversion, AOV, and cost reduction. However, a lot of times when we're testing and measuring, we're actually measuring short-term profit per visitor, which it doesn't really always tell the whole story. And so especially when we're thinking about discounting or an offer-driven strategy, we actually usually want to be optimizing for something more like LTV, right? Or long-term profit per visitor. We want to be kind of giving someone something with the idea that like they're going to kind of have a long lifetime of purchasing products or whatever. And so in this period, when kind of deciding what the approach is, brands should, like as Chase mentioned, kind of in an earlier question, look back at historical data, and that should kind of dictate whether they treat the holiday as like an opportunity to harvest new traffic and focus on acquisition, or, you know, if it's not great traffic that you get during Black Friday and you know, they're not like generating a ton of LTV, you might really want to focus on profit per visitor. But it'll be a balance between kind of acquisition and kind of conversion rate and then profit per visitor. And it'll be different for every brand, again, depending on like the quality of the orders and traffic and customers that are acquired during this period.
Yeah, my build on that, Sam gave such an incredible answer, is really understanding what your business is meant to do in this time period. And again, I'm essentially giving you just a different flavor of what Sam said. There are brands that we work with that sit out Black Friday because their AOV is so high, they know that they're not actually going to be able to acquire the right kind of people for their business.
Yeah.
That is 100% okay. You have to know what's right for your business, not just because like this is not a FOMO situation where just because everyone is running ads and you feel like, oh, I got to have some sort of offer. A month where you have flat revenue, but you have more profitability is better than you having an up month that is down on profitability or negative. And you're not going to be able to reacquire those customers because you've made some sort of offer. You've written a check that you can't cash, if you will. And so metrics we optimize for, we suggest people similar to Sam's, ours is revenue per session, is like an efficiency metric that you're optimizing for during this period. And the idea is like, what is the efficiency of your funnel that you're sending people through on a day by day basis? And so revenue per session is what we optimize for generally, but really what we see is the efficiency of your funnel is going to drive a huge amount of impact. LTV is one that you should be always thinking about, especially in ecom, which is how much am I going to, what is the velocity of repeat rate? And so I worked at a company one time where it was like 1.3 per year and we were acquiring people for $70 and they were spending $20. You know, like it was not a good business, right? They had a lot of money, so it was fine. But these were the golden days of raising money. And so today is not that day. And so you really have to optimize for the right kind of customers for your business. So LTV. I should have just said +1, Sam. That's all I should.
Ditto, right? Like
Some of the good
that's it. Why do I gotta say anything? She said everything. It's good.
yeah,
Yeah, we
ditto.
got some spice anecdotes. Mine was just like, these are my thoughts.
Yeah, love that. Love that. All right, let's go on to this next question. How should merchants be thinking about optimizing shipping offers before, during, and after the holidays? Sam, you want to take this first?
Yeah, happy to. Yeah, so I think, you know, there's a number of levers in general when we're thinking about optimizing and like specifically testing shipping, that we usually think about, you know, and I think a lot of those still come into play during Black Friday, Cyber Monday. So it's like testing free versus paid shipping as a conversion lever. Can you kind of get conversion by offering free shipping? That's an awesome thing to potentially kind of pull out and test during the holidays. Another kind of lever is like testing a shipping threshold as AOV boosting. So like it's a kind of a different play, a play towards AOV and revenue generation. That's always a good thing to think about. And especially if you're, I don't know, throwing in things like add-ons, you might want to adjust that during the, or like upsells during the holidays. And then the shipping rate itself is something to play around with. That's usually like either a conversion boosting goal or revenue and profit, depending if you're going up and down. So those are all things that like you should be playing around with, and finding the right strategy throughout the year should get that kind of strategy in place. And then like you might iterate or change it a bit during the holidays. The thing I would think about is like, again, shipping is an opportunity to give value. and kind of think of it as an offer. So you probably want to only do things that are better during the holidays. So like you could test things like surprise free shipping, or, you know, free shipping for first time users or purchasers. That's like a good way to give away some value without giving a discount. And it can be great for like non-discounting brands. So yeah, I think there's a bunch of fun things to play around with.
Yeah, that's so good. You bring up so many good valid points. I'll add to it by saying that I think one of the things that brands can definitely do and should be doing during the holiday period is really clear communication about what are the shipping deadlines, thresholds, like more the threshold around delivery and timing, and then like what's that offer tied to it, right? So maybe they missed the standard shipping deadline. So being able to communicate on the product page, on the cart, using geolocation rules, tapping into personalization and making it so clear, like, will this get here in time? What's the cutoff date? And then what's that backup plan when the cutoff date's already happened, right? So this is a big thing of like why people will kind of like abandon cart, right, during it. It's like, oh shoot, I've missed the deadline. It's not going to get here in time. So one thing I helped facilitate on the brand side that worked so well is we offered like a printable gift file that you could attach. So it's like, hey, this comes with a free gift file. So you had something to put underneath the tree. You had something that you could physically hand them if the product wasn't going to be there in time. But then the other piece too that I think is really great around this is I know we all want traffic on our own sites and we want conversions on our own sites, but I think converting a customer in general is still a big win. So like once you hit that shipping cutoff deadline, where can you send those people that's still buying your product? But maybe it's from Amazon, maybe it's from local retailers. You can use personalization to kind of, you know, maybe there's a retail location that's near them that they can go shop at that still gets your product in their hands. Obviously, we want it all happening on the site, right? But at the end of the day, them having your product in their hands is the biggest win rather than like them going to a competitor because they've already missed the shopping deadline, all that stuff. So definitely making those timelines clear, simple, to the point, and then communicating every step of the journey. It's also going to help you guys with your CS teams as well, right? Where people are not going to be writing in and being like, this was delayed, this was late, I didn't get this, so on and so forth. So yeah. Awesome. We've got two more questions left. We've got about 5 minutes left. So let's try to speed through these questions and open up for some Q&A. So let's do the short condensed versions on these answers and open up for a little bit of Q&A. So how can e-commerce brands effectively test and optimize their product prices without negatively impacting customer perception?
So Sam's going to have more direct data on this than I am. I'm going to have macro data and vibes. So I'm going to give Sam the floor to start.
Thanks, Chase. This one feels like a volley to me, so I appreciate that. Yeah, so I think our perspective on this is like learning requires risk. So the question is kind of how do we learn the most based on the risk that you're willing to take on? And price testing is, you know, an example of that. You know, it's something that's super visible. And so I think a lot of brands think it's like a risky thing to test. So one approach is like there's a bunch of things we can do to kind of manage and mitigate that risk, like limiting the scope of the test by testing only on new users or people who are not familiar with your product prices, or limiting the scope of the test, you're only testing on products that are like available just on the site and you're not talking about other places. Of course, like the more narrow you get, potentially the less valuable the learnings are. And so it's kind of that trade-off. We tend to think that like A/B testing is an awesome way to test because you can get a ton of learning in a shorter period of time, which means that like it's quite a condensed amount of risk rather than like risk over a long period of time. But yeah, I'm very happy to chat in more detail with anyone who like wants to get into this more, since we're a bit short on time. But that's how I think about it, is like tons of ways you can mitigate. You can try to keep it super clean and contained, but also A/B testing is really great way to get data quickly. So you can then go make the right decisions like in perpetuity. Yeah.
Two things on this. First, it really depends on what kind of company you are, where your price sits and where people see the value. Like using Hermes as an example, they're not going to discount anything or price test anything because they have incredible brand and market equity. If you're buying, I don't know, I have these like dragonfly things to keep mosquitoes away. You know, price testing is a very effective measure to be doing because it's like, okay, this is a commodity. And so it really just depends on what your business is. That's kind of the first thing I would use as a ground floor principle. It also depends on how you feel about your brand. This is kind of the second thing. I also believe in not necessarily testing the price elasticity, but more testing offer elasticity in this area. So, for instance, free shipping is one that they talked about beforehand. Understanding what that drives in this period to drive AOV up and LTV up and all the other fun metrics we've been talking about. And so I feel offer elasticity is probably the better way to go because it doesn't have as much impact on the product itself. You get to keep the sanctity of what your product is. And I'm always going to say lift your prices because your cogs aren't going to go down. And so having the offer be the mechanism is probably going to help you more with the velocity to get those good customers.
I love that. I love that. Well, we're going to scrap the last question for the sake of time because we want to be respectful for everybody because I know y'all have meetings to jump to. But before we part ways today, I want to announce our winner of the most valuable chatter. I wonder if anybody can guess it, but I'll do a little drum roll. You guys won't even hear my drum roll, but the winner is going to be Shelby, or sorry, not Shelby. Shelby is the winner. Yes, I read that right. Sorry. Almost had a little Steve Harvey situation there, but we're okay. Shelby is the winner. I said it right. So Shelby, you are the winner. You're going to win a $50 Amazon gift card and some swag from us. So congrats, Shelby. I'm so glad that you are the actual winner and I didn't cause any false thing that I
Oh,
had to
yeah.
walk back. So yeah, but I love all of you guys who have joined today. Thank you so much, Joanne, Chase, Sam. Thank you, everybody who has hung out this long in the webinar for giving us some time today on your Thursday, and really excited to just continue these conversations. All of you will be getting a recording of this. Definitely going to be sharing that out, and it's going to be just great time. So if anybody has any last minute questions, we've got about a minute left. Any last minute questions we can hit in the chat. If you guys found this helpful, give me another helpful in the chat. I'm really glad that you guys are here.
Yeah.
Just
I
looking.
thought it was helpful just listening to all these
Yeah.
brilliant
Oh my gosh.
speakers. I learned a lot. Thank you.
I know, I'm so
Yeah.
inspired. I have so
Yeah.
many to go tell people about that I learned from the rest of y'all.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will not be citing my source. I'm just going to act like I am the source. So thank you. We have a lot of Black Friday things to share with folks.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thanks again, everybody. We'll leave you guys with all of this, and yeah, keep an eye out on all of us on LinkedIn. Keep an eye out for the recording, and we will see you all later. So have a great rest of your Thursday.
Thank
Bye,
you. Good
y'all.
luck this
See you
Black
guys.
Friday, everyone. Bye-bye.